Yes. All right,
Excellent.
everyone. It is 1 o'clock, and we are going to start this session with Brody McGregor, and we are going to be going over Earnest and how it integrates with Dotloop.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much for having me. My name is Brody. Most of you, I believe, met me earlier this week and we reviewed the app, the Earnest phone app, and how to request funds digitally. So, Earnest is a digital platform for earnest money payments. So, instead of checks or wires, this digital solution allows you to request from the Earnest phone app that we reviewed earlier this week. That's downloadable in the App Store or Google Play, free for you to download. Today, we are going to be reviewing the Dotloop integration. So you can use Earnest directly from within your loop to request funds, request earnest money from your buyers. So wanted to show you on our website, and I reviewed this earlier this week, but just www.earnest.com. You're also welcome to use Earnest directly from our web-based app. So you can just sign here at the top right and sign in to request if you prefer the desktop. But under our partners tab, if you go to Dotloop, we have a whole Dotloop page which will introduce resources. We have webinar training sessions. You can pull Dotloop up directly from within our website. And we have a video here to walk through that request process as well, but I'll be walking through this live with you all today. We do have some resources here. If you scroll down below, how to use Earnest within Dotloop. And then we do have a guide here as well. So I wanted to show you this guide. Again, we'll be walking through it live, but we do have this PDF version where you can walk through with this beside you, walking through that request, and it introduces that request process within Dotloop, details on the left, and we have images here on the right to show you that request. So this may be helpful for you all if you would like to access this on our website. But we'll go ahead and pull up Dotloop. So within your loop, once you log into your Dotloop account, you may have already seen this before. It's already there for you. You do not have to download Earnest or anything like that or add it to your loop. It's right here at the top right. It says send Earnest request. So it's right here at the top right with once you're within your loop. So I don't have any documents uploaded. I have my information in the view details. So it's completely up to you if you have everything filled out already. If you don't, that's fine too. But once you're ready to send your Earnest request to the home buyer for earnest money, you can go ahead and click that Send Earnest Request button here at the top right, and it will introduce Earnest. So a little bit about Earnest here, where you can go ahead and continue into the Earnest integration. It'll ask you to enter your email address. Your first time signing in, it will ask you to create an account. It'll be creating an individual user account. It'll just ask for first and last name, email, and phone number, and you're ready to get started. From there, our login process is pretty simple. Instead of having to set up a password, we use a secure 6-digit code each time that is sent to your inbox. So part of the Earnest security there. So you'll just grab that code and enter it there to continue and sign into Earnest. So you can go ahead and start requesting payment. It'll first ask for who's paying, and you can see that the details already populated for me. So really unique feature, great feature, very easy within Dotloop that we did not show in the app, whereas you are manually inputting those details. Dotloop, if it's already, the information is already in your loop, it'll autofill for you. So you can see it did that for me here with my buyer's first and last name, their email address, and mobile phone number. However, if you don't have that information in your view details within your loop, you can manually add this information and go ahead and request. So it filled in who's paying, and then it will ask for the earnest money deposit details. So it'll ask for the earnest money amount. Again, you can see all this information auto-filled for me with that street address for my property, that city, state, and zip code. Scroll down. The only step that you will have to input if you have all the information in your loop already will be selecting the escrow holder. So this is where you'll be able to select. You go ahead and do the drop down here. And I'm just going to search for your escrow account nickname. I'll search for the North Carolina. office location. So you can see it does populate based on the state that your property address is in. So it'll pull all the locations. And if you want to narrow that search down just to search for BHHS Town Realty, you can start typing and options will populate. So this way it'll only show BHH Town Realty escrow accounts in Mitchell, Monroe, and Case. So you can select the appropriate account. So we'll just select the North Carolina Mitchell. And then we want to verify that the above listed escrow holder is the one on the purchase contract. So you saw that search tool. It will only pull escrow accounts based on the state that your property address is in. So if you're searching outside of North Carolina, I know you have other properties, it'll pull based on that state. So it'll narrow that search down, and then it's a geo filter or smart search filter once you start typing. So you'll just verify that the above listed escrow holder is the one on the purchase contract. And then you can see who receives notifications. So same with the app, where every party involved is included with the notification receipts. The agent, so you all requesting the funds, the buyer completing the payment, and then Berkshire Hathaway on the back end will be notified with the receipts as well. So once you have everything complete, that is it. You'll just select that you have a fully executed contract. That's just another verification piece before you request the $1,000. This is live, so I won't actually hit request, but once you do, it'll let you know that the request has been sent to the buyer and they're ready to complete their earnest money payment. So the buyer receives the request the same way that we showed with the Earnnest app. So whether you're using Dotloop, the phone app, or the desktop to request funds, the buyer has the same payment process. I'm happy to show that again, but I want to pause here and just see if there are any questions on the Dotloop request side. Any questions so far?
There's one in the chat. We have found a few lenders that will not let the buyer do earnest. Last one we had was Navy Federal, I think.
That will not. So the buyer, there are over 13,000 banks in the Plaid network. If your buyers use Venmo or PayPal, I like to say that Earnnest is the Venmo or PayPal for real estate. So most buyers are familiar with those platforms. Majority of banks are in that platform. However, if the bank is not one of those 13,000 banks, or if the bank does not support instant verification, there is a way to connect the bank manually. So the buyer can, instead of going through and entering their online banking credentials, they can they can connect their account with account and routing details instead. So they do have the option to manually verify if that bank does not support instant verification through Plaid. Is that helpful there for that question? And I apologize, I cannot see the chat with my screen up.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
And then you've got two hands up. If you want to go ahead, Ray.
Yeah, hi. Quick question. In a case where maybe the contract hasn't been ratified yet, but your buyer wants to write the check for the or get the payment in, can you still do this without clicking on fully executed until that contract is ratified?
We have this here as we generally prefer that. That's just a security piece. So we just have that there as a step, a process. We do have within the app, there is just a verification piece or a confirmation, the proof of intent. We do have a replicated check that you can use. But if you'd like to go ahead and request the funds, you are verifying that there's a fully executed contract. So if it is canceled and that buyer already completes their payment, that payment will go through.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Karen, if you'd like to go ahead.
Thanks. If you are in the process of writing the contract and the buyer wants the title agent and the settlement company to serve as their escrow agent, is there a way to go in and verify that that will work in this system with that particular title company or escrow agent?
Yes, so not in Dotloop. In Dotloop, you can simply start the request and search for the escrow holder. However, in the Earnnest app that we introduced earlier this week, and I can pull it up here, there is an option when you are starting the request within the app. If you go to request payment, right here, it'll pop up with everything that you'll need to get started. And this number 3 is enrolled escrow holder. So if you're not sure if your escrow holder is part of the Earnnest network, you can search or invite them here. So it'll populate. You can search by state and search for the escrow holder's name there. So it's an escrow holder lookup before you actually send the request.
Perfect. Thank
Absolutely. It does allow you to invite them if they are not searched, if they're not in our network. It does give you the option to invite or join. However, Berkshire Hathaway Town Realty is already enrolled and registered in our network with several locations, so they are all searchable in our network. So if you ever need any help finding one of those escrow accounts, you're welcome to reach out to our support team or myself, and I'm happy to help. Good question. Are there any others in the chat or any other hands? Perfect.
There is not.
Excellent. I know we showed this earlier in the week, but I do just real quick want to show just the buyer's payment process just so you can see it all the way through. If there are any newbies on this call today, just so you can see the buyer's payment process. And again, back on our website, just the home page, you can go to our resources page. We have excellent resources for whether you're using the app, Dotloop, or the web-based app. You can go to the real estate agent page, and that has a lot of helpful tools to get started. We also have a home buyer resources page. So this is a great resource for your buyers. You can direct them here how to complete your earnest money payment. They can see what receipts they'll receive. So those receipts are pretty generic there. But this video I do want to play just one more time so we can review that buyer's payment process and see how the buyer completes the payment. So again, they do not have to have the Earnnest app downloaded. They do not have to have an account created already. They'll simply receive an email request, whether the agent initiated it through Dotloop or the app, and they'll follow a secure link to complete their payment. So I'll play this real quick for you all here. And that's it. So that's the buyer's side. So now early this week, we reviewed the app request process, and today we got to see Dotloop. So I'm happy to open it up to any more questions. Let's see if I can open the chat.
Buyers with a
There was a question, is anyone here in the video? There was no sound to the video, I don't believe.
Oh, I apologize. I'm so sorry. It was on my end, so I'm not familiar with
You're fine.
Were you able to see the process without the audio? Just kind of see how or I'm happy to replay it too.
Yes, we were able to see it. We just couldn't hear it.
Okay. Well, I apologize. Any other questions? Okay, well, perfect. Well, if you all would like the video, it is available on our website. So you just as a refresher to show your buyers so that they are familiar with the payment process. You're welcome to reach out to me with any questions. I'm more than happy to help at any time. We also have an excellent support team available Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to assist you and your clients.